It's about 9 months since I last played Paladins and made a video as well, so I felt that it was time to go back and play the game once more in order to see how the game is doing now in 2024, if it's still worth playing, and also get an indication how many people that are actually playing the game now. I recently made a video about another Hi-Rez Studios game, a free-to-play third-person shooter called Rogue Company. And even though Hi-Rez didn't develop that game, instead they are the publisher when it comes to Rogue Company, it did feel good to continue to check out another Hi-Rez title that I did play quite some back in the days, and that is Paladins. Yes, I was an early bird when it comes to Paladins, and I do remember still my first game when there was an early playtest playing as Cassie. And I enjoyed the game, and I thought that it had potential and could do well. And here we are now about 7-8 years later playing the game. And as said, I haven't played Paladins in almost a year. So I went back and forth a bit playing with both some new characters, at least new for me, and also some that I've been using or playing before. At first, the first matches, it felt a bit off, I didn't do that well, but after some other matches I started to get into it again, getting the hang of it you might say, and also get reminded why I have enjoyed playing Paladins previous years. When it comes to the matchmaking, it was a bit of the same kind of experience that I had when playing Rogue Company recently actually, meaning some chill and almost easy matches, but all of a sudden I was playing also with some really good high-ranked players, most likely playing together as well since they were using voice communication. So it felt almost as I was back playing Counter-Strike all over again, or a MLG playlist, if some of you guys remember what that was back in the days. Well, simply put, I had to sweat to keep up and not embarrass myself in order to stay alive and help out my team as much as I can or could. But I actually enjoyed it. I guess this is usually something that happens when a game has been around for many years. You know, some guys has been playing Paladins a lot and are still playing the game, already unlocked most of the characters in the game, which is by the way called champions, and have optimized their loadouts as much as they can. But it does seem as if the game, if you are for example, let's say under level 30, at least from what I've heard or seen, is trying to match you with players around that level, give or take. The problem not having balanced teams might occur more if you group up, or as in my case, get into a match with high level players that are playing together as a group as described earlier. I guess that the system will not properly balance out what a group brings. I know there's been some criticism when it comes to this early high-res matchmaking as questionable, you might say, when it comes to finding that balance for skill levels. But even so, it is possible to play and get some fun out of Paladins. And I'd rather have this kind of mix of experiences between matches when it comes to the overall matchmaking experience than to have a strict or even harsh skill-based matchmaking system instead, as it is nowadays in a lot of the modern games, especially in a casual game mode as well. Well, as always, feel free to give your feedback here as well. I'm playing Paladins on PC, I'm a PC gamer, but it's also possible of course to play the game on Nintendo Switch and Xbox, PlayStation 4 and 5, and it got the crossplay feature as well in 2019 if I remember it correctly. But what about the player base then? Are there still people playing the game also now in 2024? Since I'm playing on PC, I usually take a look into the Steam charts when making these kind of videos. Not because it shows the exact amount of players, because it doesn't, since we also have the console gamers as well to consider, but more as an indication, if you will, whether a certain game has gone up or down, meaning gaining or losing players over time. It seems as if Paladins has gained some players the last 2 months, having around 6k plus players on average the last 30 days. Compare that with around 5k players on average in September 2022, and we can, as said, see a small increase when it comes to the player count lately. So what's the reason behind that? Well, they did make, for example, an update called the Wild Horde update quite recently, where they gave the players the return of trials into Paladins, and also some significant item shop changes and the beginnings of a new meta. Season 7 of Ranked has started in February, if I got it right, and there's of course other things that has been updated as well in the game, but maybe the return of trials in Paladins alongside with, for example, changes to the event pass, while also aligning it with trials to have a consistent stream of earnable content, can be reasons why some guys have now returned back into Paladins once more. 2024. So, is it still fun playing Paladins in 2024? Well, as hinted earlier here, I did enjoy my matches overall. Now coming back to the game once more, being able also to check out some of the new champions that I haven't seen or played before, and doing that on 1 or 2 maps that was new to me at least. And even though most games similar to an online game such as Paladins are often more fun and enjoyable when playing with friends, Paladins do work okay, I believe, when it comes to players that are also solo queuing, and as I was doing here when I was recording this video. At least when it comes to casual game modes, of course. Much better actually than some newer titles out there when you're solo queuing that has quite strict skill-based matchmaking as well in the game, which often gives you the same matchmaking experience over and over again. Well, Paladins is a free-to-play title that I can definitely come back to and play some, although it would be nice to hear from people that are playing the game on a consistent basis what you guys have to say about the overall development. Are there still enough updates being made in the game? Are the developers addressing things that the community has been asking for, meaning changes? And is there enough new content being added for you guys that are logging into Paladins more or less every week, or maybe every day still? Feel free to leave your feedback in the comments, I do read them. And from my somewhat casual Paladins perspective, I can still give a thumbs up and say give the game a try and see what you think. And no, it does not play like Overwatch, even though that discussion has been around for years and years, but I think we can leave that behind for now. With that said, thanks a lot for watching, and if you want to see more FPS gaming here on my channel, make sure to subscribe, and we'll catch up in another video coming soon here on my YouTube channel. So, with that said, later.